Hi friends. Um, Today's video I was kind of planning on making sort of a nothing video. Um, I've had a lot of admin to do, so it's just going to be one of those I did some stuff. But tonight I went to, at my friend's recommendation and insistence, because they were running it, a Palestine Film Festival. So it was run by a local activist group called Queers for Palestine. Of which I am a member. And they were putting on this film festival. They still are. It's running for a few more weeks. Showcasing Palestinian films, so either about Palestine or made by Palestinians. And it was emotionally, it was a lot. It was I'm still reeling a little bit afterwards. It was very good, and I'm very glad I went. And I'm going to talk about the movies tonight. I'm going to talk about the short films I've seen. Where possible, I'm going to link them in the description. I'll definitely put the names of the movies in the description. The first film was called Made in Palestine. It was about the textile factory, the last textile factory in Palestine that makes kafayas the traditional way, and it's the factory where I got my kafaya from, because I get mine from the sorry. I realize I'm gonna sort of lock in. No, I've been in my head a lot since watching those movies. I really recommend seek them out, find them. I'm going to talk a bit more at the end. Made in Palestine. These kafayas, I get them from the local Palestine Museum. And it is crazy. It's crazy to see family-run business for 60 years. Very important and very interesting insights on the history of the kafaya as a symbol for Palestine, particularly under British occupation. The second movie was called Wi-Fi Rider, and it's about a Palestinian and starting a fashion brand. But also I think just being a young Palestinian on the internet and seeing the hate, the Islamophobia, the anti-Arab, anti-Palestinian sentiment that you see around. The third one was called Night. Night is devastating. It's animated stop motion. I don't think any description I could give it would do it justice. I would watch it if you're ready to feel feelings. It was raw and it was deep and it was really good. It was beautiful. The last movie to talk about was called Palestine Underground, and it followed the underground music scene in occupied Palestine and the West Bank, and that was a really, really good film to see, because it covered the resistance of being underground, of making art where you're not allowed to make art, of refusing to stop existing in places where you're not allowed to exist. It was beautiful and horrible. And I think the key part of all of these movies, every single one, I think especially Palestine Underground, was it's easy to, if you just see stories about Palestine from the news, it's easy to think of the entirety of Palestine as being already dead, as being, a people who have already been wiped out. And maybe if you think there's anyone left, it's people who are traumatized and shell-shocked, and it's true. But like, these people still are people. They still make music. They still dance. They still live. They're still human beings. And refusing to be killed before you've been killed is powerful. And it brings it to the broader question of, why do I, an ostensibly white British woman, care so much? Care as deeply as I do. I really do care. And there's this solidarity between queer people, and Palestinians. It's why the chant goes, in our hundreds, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. Because you see these stories of having to exist in a world that does not want you, and that will, at every opportunity, try to get rid of you. And there's differences. I'm incredibly privileged. There's no questions about that. I am a phenomenally privileged person. And even with that privilege, I can relate on some level to the horror of being hated, being gone, just because you exist, being seen as someone who's not a full human. And the taste of that, the little crumb of that I get to taste, versus the daily suffering, it's enough to proclaim loudly my support and put my energy and effort into doing whatever I can. The last point was made by a speaker at the festival, whose words I won't paraphrase because it wouldn't do them justice, but who insisted that they didn't want their art to be something that gives people an opportunity to turn off. They didn't want art to be a medium of feeling bad for a moment and then doing nothing. And that's important. Art can shape how we talk about things. It can create a vision for a future. It can cause change, and it can silence. It can pacify. It can set narratives. And there's a certain truth in being judicious about the art that you consume, and choosing art which inspires action or inspires feeling, that conveys stories that matter. So I do recommend all the movies I saw. I will link them if I can find them. If you watch this video as soon as it comes out, then perhaps they won't be in the description, but I'll try. I'll try as hard as I can. That's probably all I've got to say. I'll round off in two ways. The first is, sorry, I realised throughout this I might be talking a little deeper. I've been crying a bit. I'm not really doing all the voice training stuff I should be doing. I'll end in two ways. The first is I get hate comments. Not that many, because I'm still quite small, but I do get the odd hate comment. And people do, you know, judge, poke fun, think that shouldn't be a solidarity between a trans woman and Palestine. You couldn't be more wrong. And the second thing is now just pure questioning. I have no idea. I've never been able to calculate how responses will be. In the last day, like 13 new people have subscribed to me, which for me, that's like, you know, 10%, more than 10%. That's crazy. What? It's so many. That's like 20% of my subscribers have come in the last day. And it's not from the Barry Pigeon video, because almost no one's seen that. Thank you, everyone who showed up. I've been thinking I might hit 100 in like a month's time. I'm worried that will be sooner now. If you're new here, not all my videos are rambly, emotional Palestine films, but a lot of them will be, so thank you very much. I love you very much. Viva Palestina, and good night.